The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to the raw and uncensored Ambitchious podcast. I'm your host, the original HBIC, Katie Boyd. During our time here together, I will be instilling all of the strength, power, and determination you will need to use the very stones thrown at you to build your ultimate empire. We will redefine the word bitch from the derogatory to the acronym being in total control of herself. So let's adjust our crowns and prepare to live life ambitiously. Oh yeah, here I am, the original HBIC, Katie motherfucking Boyd.
Here you are.
And here is my co-host, my wingman, my ride or die biatch, Matthew Babine, my husband.
Oh, thank you for that introduction.
The man that I Dutch oven every night.
Oh, God, she does.
And he loves it.
I do not.
He freaking eats that shit up.
I do not love it.
Let me tell you.
You're crazy today.
He also enjoys cups of cheese.
Yes, a good cup of cheese is always good.
We'll talk about that one later.
That's a good story.
Today's episode of the Ambitchious podcast is all about not being a thirsty ass hoe and chasing love and ding-dongs all over the damn town. Have some goddamn respect for yourselves.
Oh, God.
I have some good-ass dating stories today. You guys better stay tuned because this is going to get real juicy. And since Matt didn't date until he was 40, because he was the original 40-year-old virgin, he doesn't really have a lot of good dating stories.
Not really. not as juicy as yours, apparently.
Yeah, well, you had one that was juicy. Maybe you'll bring it up.
I'll come up with that.
Maybe you'll bring it up if you're feeling a little confident.
I always feel confident. So I'll have to do it now.
All right.
I'm telling you.
Before we start, though, I want to read the iTunes review of the week, and it is from Becca OXOX, and she says, thank you. 5 stars. Katie is such a bold and strong woman. Her podcasts are so inspiring to both men and women. Listening to her advice helps me in life so much, gives me a push to stay positive and to focus on myself more. Thank you, Katie, for being such a big inspiration to me. Becca XOXO, thank you so much. You need to email themisfitclub@gmail.com and you need to get your $100 gift certificate to use towards anything KBMFC related. So get your asses over there. Don't say I don't give you anything. Get your ass over to iTunes and give me a freaking 5-star review. I mean, we don't have ads on the podcast. You might as well do something for your country.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's a beautiful country.
God damn it. So I want to talk a little bit before we get started. I have some really cool things coming up. One is, as you guys all know, I'm going to be launching my book, cleverly entitled Ambitchious. And it's going to be all about how to use the very stones thrown at you to build your ultimate empire by using what I like to call the 6 life breakers or life makers. And if you don't know what they are, stop being a lazy piece of shit and go back to the first podcast and listen to what they are. Because I don't want to waste time doing that over and over and over again. I sound like a damn broken record. So I'm going to be letting you guys know coming up when we're going to be able to have the Ambitchious pre-sale before you can actually get it in stores and get it on Amazon, et cetera, to pre-buy the book. So that's going to be really cool.
That's awesome.
And then obviously, as you guys all know, because I've been talking about it so damn much that my titties are ready to fall off, we're going to be doing Kripalu January 4th, 5th, and 6th, 2019. It's so exciting. When I tell you this is going to be like the most life-changing event ever, yes. I mean it with all my heart. So I'm going to link in the show notes so that you can go check out prices on staying there and packages and all that good stuff. Matt will be in his best unicorn onesie.
If you already didn't see me on Facebook with that onesie on, oh my God.
Oh God, I'm still having nightmares about it.
What I do for love.
Thank God you love me. It's so funny because all my friends are texting me and they're like, Matt really loves you.
Oh yeah.
He really loves you.
It's true.
And I was like, no shit, because I got the bomb punani, as little Kim would say. And then
true that.
True. Oh, okay. The check's in the mail, Matt. And then going forward, see, everybody everybody's been like DMing me on Facebook and Facebook freaking DMing me and all this shit. And everyone's like, how do I work with you? How do I work with you? And obviously I do many different things, but you can work with me virtually. So if that's something that you want to do, go to www.kbmfc.com. You can check out virtual programs, in-house programs. And then I also have some business mastermind stuff coming up. That's also on the website. I'll also link that into the show notes. And like I always offer, 2 weeks for free. So if you do live close enough to KBMFC in Hudson, New Hampshire, take advantage of this. 2 weeks for free. The New Year's is coming up. Even though I don't really believe in the New Year's, I think I'm the only trainer, life coach, motivator that doesn't really believe like new year, new me. I think you can start being a new you every morning that you wake up.
Yes.
I think it's actually like kind of something that holds you back, thinking, all right, I'm just going to be a fat piece of shit and lazy until fucking January 1st.
Or until next year.
Oh my God.
The 2nd of January.
It's like, come on. And then the 2nd of January comes and everyone's knee-deep in fucking ho-hos.
I got another year to wait now before
this
I can
is what happens. I don't believe in that, but I know that a lot of you guys like that fresh start. It feels good. So 2 weeks for free. And like I always say, go back to the first podcast, listen to what the 6 life breakers or makers are. But because we don't have any ads on here, the nicest thing that you can do for little old me is go on to the podcast platform that you consume this podcast on. Give it a 5-star review. Tell us what you think. I will be so grateful from the bottom of my little black heart. And if you give me a shitty review, like I always say, this podcast is probably not for you. Go listen to someone else's boring ass, lazy ass, broke ass podcast, okay? Because the word ambitious is not for you. You're not ambitious. You're the opposite of ambitious. So like I always say, if you want to give me a bad review, it's probably time to go into a dark room, put on a candle, and go fuck yourself. Okay? But if you gave us a great review, thank you so goddamn much. From the bottom of my little black heart. Matt's getting so scared because he knows when I get like feverish like this.
No,
he knows
I'm
that
excited.
shit is going to get real.
This is going to be an awesome podcast. I'm excited.
So Matt, I want to preface this really quick before we really get started.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know that you're like more G-rated because you work with children and stuff.
Yes.
But today we're going to get down to the nitty gritty.
So yes.
Because a lot of my women that listen and men.
Yeah.
They want to be ambitious, right?
Yep.
And a part of being ambitious is being in total control of him or herself, correct?
Correct. And it's an adult show.
And it's an adult show, so don't hold back.
I'm not going to hold back.
Don't be
at
a
all.
crybaby tits.
No crybaby tit.
Just put your fucking self out there, because I am so sick of this shit. You just need to be your damn self. Need to be your hood rat self from like 1984.
Oh God.
Okay, when I was 3 years old. How does that make you feel? Does that make you feel old?
Oh my God.
84. I was born in 81. So yeah, 84. I was goddamn 3 years old. Fucking cradle robber. So I want you to be super forthcoming.
Yes, I definitely
with all of your stories.
All my stories are out there for everybody to hear. Everyone knows me.
Because here's the deal.
I have to go now.
There's a lot of people.
I'm out of here.
You pussy. There's a lot of people that one of their hang-ups is they got everything down pat, right? Yeah. They got their health and their wellness and their money mindset and then all the things that I talk about.
Yes.
But the one thing that they don't have is they think that love or finding a partner is going to complete them.
Right.
It's like that old Jerry Maguire shit, remember?
Yeah.
You complete me.
Yeah.
That fucked people up for their whole lives, right? Like the 90s were such a bad time. Because you just always were looking for someone to like hook up with because you're like, this is the person that's going to make me feel whole. And then what happens?
Right. Nobody makes you feel whole. You have to feel whole within yourself. And it takes a lot of time for a lot of people to find that. But that's true. I mean, you can't look for somebody else to make you feel any way.
Right.
How many times people will say, oh, well, you made me do this. No, nobody made you do anything. Nobody makes you feel anything. Nobody makes you do anything. This is the United States of America. If you feel a certain way, you need to look inside. Why do I feel that way?
Absolutely.
Why do I feel inadequate? And, the first thing I know you're going to be talking is self-worth, right? How much self-worth.
Did you just do my job for me?
Well, I have to help you every now and then. What do you think I'm here for, all right? I'm here to help.
Oh, geez. I thought you were just a pretty face.
So I am that, too.
So we're going to get into this. So again, the Ambitchious podcast today is about not chasing love because people, again, think that when they find love, whatever that means, that all of a sudden, miraculously, like unicorns are going to come down and like jack off in your face. And that's not really what happens.
Right.
There's an extra level of shit that comes around with being in a relationship.
It's actually, if you find the right person, that person's going to, what is it called, to push you to be the best person you can be.
Yes.
Now, if that's could be good things in some ways, and it could be bad things in some ways. But if it's really, truly the right person, it's not all unicorns, like you say, and rainbow farts, right? It's
I didn't say that. I actually said the unicorn was jerking off. In
jerking off.
Yes. Check your ears, Matt. Check your ears.
I'm going with the other version.
All right. So yes, our first. So it's going to be the top 5.
Okay.
Okay. Because I'll let you keep it short and
keep
sweet
it
sometimes.
Keep a list. Keep it going.
Yeah, let's
straight.
keep everybody on task. You know how I'm very OCD with that. So yes, never chase love. So the first item on our list today is know your self-worth, because I think that people just sell their souls to the devil, thinking this relationship is finally going to be the thing that brings everything together. And then what people don't really understand is relationships are a lot of work. They're a lot of work, a lot of sacrifice. And like you said, I think that good relationships actually will trigger you in a lot of bad ways so that you can level up and step up and really become the person that you are meant to be.
Right, and it's a growth, right? So when you do find the person that you're with, it's a growing period that you're learning to grow together, because it's basically taking 2 separate backgrounds, right? If you don't have self-worth, you have 2 backgrounds. You were brought up this way, I was brought up this way, right? You have all these rules that you have that a good husband or lover or a person would be. Mine are totally different,
yes.
Right? And then we come together.
I'm aware.
And then 95% of the people are like, what the fuck? This is not even how I believe. If you loved me, you would open the door and your foot would be that way, and your foot was the other way. So how could I possibly walk through that door?
I don't know who you're talking about right
I
now.
have no idea. But right, so everyone has these rules,
yes.
right, of different things.
Right.
And I don't think really people think about relationships of they're going in there, it's going to give, right? Because if you have self-worth, you're going in there, the relationship to give.
Right.
How can I give this person my love? How can I give this person all of my affection, all these different
Did you have any self-worth problems with relationships in the past?
No, not at all. You're kidding me? I was a disaster. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was following the follower, right? I was
that's never good.
I was like, oh, this guy says, if you do this on your first date, this is what you're supposed to do. I was a total asshole. I had no idea what I was doing, right?
And then now it's 2018.
And it's 2018.
And he still doesn't sometimes.
I finally can see the man that I'm growing into being.
Matt came home with flowers.
I still have a lot of work to do, though.
We just started filming, and Matt came home with flowers the other day, and I was like, so grateful. But then the next day, the flowers started to look like really, and I know how expensive these flowers were, right?
Yeah.
So they kind of looked a little droopy. And I was like, I don't like flowers. I like plants. And Matt was just like, okay. And then I was like, I have just reached an all-time new level of bitch.
No.
So sorry. But we have these rules, right?
Yeah,
I don't like this. I like this. This is what makes me feel safe. This is what makes me not feel safe. It's like all these things.
Right.
And then we go into these relationships thinking this person is going to help me feel whole.
Yeah.
And then what happens is that, really, truly, that's why so many people end in divorce.
Right. Because
right? They say 50% of relationships end in divorce, or 50%, if not more.
Maybe more now. Yeah.
I have so many friends that are like, me and my husband got into a fight, and then we didn't talk for 3 weeks in the house.
I don't know how that could happen.
I would literally gut him like a fish if my husband wouldn't speak to me. Hi, you're my husband sitting here in front of me. But if you didn't talk to me for 3 weeks, like when Matt and I fight, we know each other's shit. Oh yeah, we go toe to toe.
We go.
But it's always to bring us to the next level.
And it's like, I have a problem with the other day you said.
Did you just fucking throw up in your mouth in front of me?
I had to. Excuse me. And it was the other day.
Doesn't miss a beat. Doesn't miss a beat.
It was the other day when you said, hey, I want to talk to you. This has been bothering me. And you had a problem with me, the way I acted, or whatever the case would be. I forget the whole thing. But
I love how he just forgets.
I fixed it.
Now that we're here live.
And it was kind of crazy. It was, it was like, that was great. I was like not happy to talk about it because I'm like, really? We have to talk about this now? But after, it was really nice that we got it off your chest.
Absolutely. I would like to tell a little story.
All right.
And my story is because I had no self-worth when in my 20s. So like from the time I was like dating until the time like I met you, I was just like a hot mess express in my like love life. I just dated lowlifes and assholes and scumbags, and I dated people for all the wrong reasons. Like, oh, this guy had a Maserati, or this guy had like this amazing home overlooking the water on this beach, but he was a total fucking toad, right?
Yeah.
So it was always like all of these extemporaneous things that I was like dating these guys for. So one time in my late 20s, I was dating this doctor. He looked super good on paper. He had like this beautiful home in Boston, the car, the looks, the whole 9 yards. And in my sick fuck head, and don't judge me, motherfuckers, because I know a lot of you at home do the same damn shit. You've done the same shit, or you're doing it right now, and I want you to stop this craziness. And I remember I was like, okay, I'm not gonna bang this dude until like I'm like really deep into the dating.
Yes.
So, because I'm gonna get him to marry me. Right? This is how you
old
like.
were you at this time?
Oh my God, like 25 or something stupid.
Jesus. Okay.
I mean, I didn't even know how to wipe my ass, or am I fucking marry anybody? I still hardly do. Like, it's questionable. So I'm like dating this guy. So we were going on dates, and I would just like kiss him, and I was like acting like totally not the skank hoe I was at the time. I was putting on like the act like I'm a good girl. It's like, why? But my grandmother always used to say, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free?
Yes,
so I had like Pearl
saying.
Boyd's like voice over and over in my head. And so one night we go out to this like seafood restaurant in Boston. And we eat like so many oysters. And I was like, he wants it. He's getting it tonight.
It's an aphrodisiac.
It's an aphrodisiac,
Yeah,
right?
this
It's
is
like,
going to be good.
a lot of good that's done you, all the oysters we've eaten, man.
Please, I'm working on it.
So
Jesus Christ.
we eat all these oysters. We go home to his like beautiful penthouse apartment. We're like rolling around in bed. And I'm like, tonight's the night. When I said tonight's the night, my literal stomach flipped. Like that fucking feeling when you know shit's about to go down. It's gonna come out on both ends. My mouth started to water. I started to get that hot like feeling, and you can't stop the mouth watering. I was like, oh, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna go powder my nose. Little did he know that I was gonna put the water on in the shower, so just in case I had explosive diarrhea, he couldn't hear it. Because, you know, like water always supposed to mask the sound of just shit flying out of your ass.
It never does.
So I was like so sick, and I was like, what do I do? So I take all of my slut clothes off because I, looked like a fucking $2 whore. And I like go in the shower, and I just like had my hand against the tile, and I'm trying to breathe. And I'm like, please, Jesus, don't let this happen. Like, I need to bang this guy tonight.
This is the night.
And all of a sudden, a whole pile of shit comes flying out of my ass. I start projectile vomiting in this guy's shower. Now, mind you,
This is the worst. I hope nobody's listening to this during breakfast.
it's hot as shit in the shower.
If you're fasting today, this is a really good story for you.
Stay with me, people. Stay with me. Follow the bouncing ball. So think about this. Get the fucking picture in your mind. It's hot as shit in the shower. The water is just cooking the freaking fecal matter.
Oh,
it's like a boiling
God,
cauldron of shit.
Katie.
And then I see like all this shit, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do with this shit? So instead of taking my own turd and just throwing it in the toilet, I get on my hands and knees, and I start feverishly shoving shit down this like shower drain. So
are you kidding?
No,
Okay.
this is a fucking
I know
true story.
I know I heard the story, but this is a little bit more than I remember.
All of a sudden, I hear this
I must
guy.
have been feeling pretty good when you told me it the first time, because I was like,
So I hear this guy knock on my door,
God.
and he's like, Katie, are you all right? And I'm like, I'm fine. Little does he know I'm shoving my feces down his drain.
Oh my God.
He opens the door. He catches me doing this, and I look like a drowned rat with like my mascara just down my face, and he goes, yeah, I think it's time you need to leave.
Leave, you think?
There
Jesus.
I was.
Poor bastard probably had to hose his bathroom down.
Hose. He needed a fucking hazmat suit.
Aye.
It was like E.T. when they had E.T. in that little like bubble, and all the people would come in and like look at him. I was E.T.
And this was going to be his lucky night. This was not
I was
be good.
I was gonna give it to him like no one's ever given it to him before.
You gave it to him.
Hey, if he was into Shiza porn, I would have been like, right? He would have been really happy.
You would have been a superstar that night.
So that night, honey, I'm a superstar every night.
Well, I know, but maybe not that night. With the
So that night
your
was the
bowel
night
movement.
that I walked down the street with my Christian Louboutins in my hand that I probably couldn't even fucking afford. I didn't pay rent for like 2 months to buy these shoes.
Jeez.
Looking like a drowned river rat. Okay, looked like I just crawled out of the frickin' Charles. And I said to myself, what the fuck am I doing? And this is how God punishes you. This is like old school Portuguese
Old
shit.
school Portuguese
Because
is
God
right.
doesn't punish you. We all have free will.
You
But
punish
this
yourself.
is how God punishes you through you punishing yourself, because I was hooking up with this guy. I was trying to trap him. And I was trying to do all these things for all the wrong reasons because I didn't know my own self-worth. I didn't know that I'm enough. I don't have to be or do or say anything other than just be Katie motherfucking Boyd.
Yep.
And that's what part of being ambitious
is
all about.
It absolutely is.
So if you want to hook up with a guy, but don't do it to get married and, be
deceitful.
Right.
And, you weren't filled up inside.
No.
Right? You were really, you didn't feel good about yourself.
Not at all.
I mean, and how many women, there was a crazy story, but how many women do things all the time, and men, I mean, I was an idiot too, that do things that they have no clue what the hell they're doing, right? And for all the wrong reasons.
Yes.
And looking for something external that's going to give them because they're just trying to fill something up and feel something because, quite frankly, nobody taught you how to feel, how to be, unless grew up with the Dalai Lama, I guess, and
we didn't do that.
We did not do that.
Grow up with the Dalai Lama.
We had the opposite of the Dalai Lama.
Yeah, we actually did. And I have all these girls over the years that I've trained, and they're like, oh, I'm just banging this guy to get a Chanel bag. I'm just hooking up with this guy to get shoes. I'm like, you're literally giving the most precious thing away, which is your physical body and love, to get a fucking Chanel bag. Like, is this really the world that we're living in? But I only can understand where they're coming from because in a lot of ways, I actually bought my own shit. I didn't look for other men to do that, but it's so sad to watch. And then what happens is they get older and then they start being like, oh my God, I wasted all those years for what?
If they even do.
Right.
There's no time limit on it.
Because sometimes people
Some
don't
people
wake
never
up.
wake up. They just keep on repeating the same pattern over and over and over.
That's right.
And getting the same result of emptiness and not looking inside. Right?
1999 to
So that was a shit story.
2009.
That was a shit storm.
I hope you're turned on, Matt.
But I hope actually it did not turn me on. But I hope it helped a lot of women out there to kind of, I don't know what.
Wear adult diapers
Wear
on
adult
dates?
diapers, it depends.
Oh my God. Number 2, know that relationships take work, but true love is freely given and effortless.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how I knew you were the one.
Because of what? Because of the hard work I had to put in? Because you really made me work hard.
I did not.
I'm just kidding.
I did not make you work that. I mean, you were a little hard. But I was honestly, when you came around, I was so who I was. I was just so Katie Boyd.
And it was funny because when, I am older than you. I'm 13 years older than you.
14,
sometimes 13, sometimes I decided
Depends on the time
I decided to go with the 13.
Okay.
So 13 years older than you, and it was kind of funny because I was gone through a divorce, and I
Yes.
stayed in a marriage for 5 years longer than I should have stayed there. And the reason being is because I had a daughter, and Karina, and I really knew that I needed to. My number one thing on the story I told myself was that I needed to make sure that she was all set.
Which is, by the way, an excuse.
Which was an excuse, right? And she goes, Dad, you should have left a long time ago. I go, really? Jesus Christ, okay. I didn't know.
Right.
But in any event, and I didn't want to meet you. I didn't want to meet anybody. And I was not dating, and I was not seeing anybody, and I didn't want to see anybody. And it was funny because
Matt was just getting the random blowjob.
You would just, it's a random blowjob.
Just the random blowjob.
And
little bit of jerky worky.
A little jerky here and there.
Yeah.
And Katie, you didn't want to see anybody at all. You threw me off my game. Don't even try it. So you were seeing who? You were seeing somebody that you had a bad breakup with.
Yes.
You wanted nothing to do with me. I wanted nothing to do with you.
Right.
And as it came, we were both ready. But I was doing my work. I was going to help you through your work because you were younger, right? But I was actually going inside a lot.
Oh, I've helped you plenty, sir.
Oh, now you have. But when I first met you, you didn't, I had to help
I brought
you.
a lot to the table.
Well, tons, yes, of course.
But I was younger and I was crazy. But I was also in a place where I had just come a string of one failed, terrible, awful relationship after another.
Yes, that was my doing, by the way. I was doing
You were orchestrating
I was working
it
my
all.
magic so you could have a horrible life until you met me.
But it's so true. Right when it's almost like when you least want it or you least expect it, that's when it comes.
Yep.
So stop trying to force shit. Stop trying to put the square peg in the round hole, lady.
Yep.
And that's not a sexual thing. I'm being serious.
You were right. Yes. Yeah.
We're always trying to manipulate the world and the universe to make us feel good. But the truth is when we let things just flow, that's when the beauty really can happen and the magic.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And, once we found each other, too, I mean, it was work, right? It was work. We had to make sure that we were...
yeah, since on my first date with you, you told me to put my fucking dog to sleep because I had seizures.
No, there was...
I was like, this guy ain't getting no ass tonight.
Well, I said that, but I did not mean it because I love Skip, and God rest his soul.
Rest
now.
in peace, little Skip.
Little Skipper.
Number 3,
Yep.
Trust your gut.
Yes.
If you ever had to question if someone truly loves you, that is your intuition, and it is real.
Okay, this is a good one. I love when you picked this one out. This was awesome because how many times do we start selling ourselves a bill of goods, right? Well,
every time.
He's really nice, but he did have that affair I knew about, and he was seeing this other woman in accounting, but I think he's really good now. And I don't think he would ever do that to me. Or I don't think, right? How many, if you're selling yourself
all the time.
something, run the fuck away.
All the time.
That is your gut, or that is divine telling you, move on. And if you start pushing the other way, the opposite direction, you're going to have nothing but problems.
Every relationship that ended really in a explosion of some sort, from the get-go, from the jump off, I had to always sell myself well, and I'm a fixer, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll take this poor little shelter dog and I'll be like, oh, he bites people and he shits all over your house. Oh, I'll reform him.
He's great.
And I would do that with men.
Yeah.
And then I would push them and push them and push them. And then, as you know, what happens when you push too much, you fucking usually make people break. I mean, I know I am really good at that.
Right.
So that's what would always happen. But I knew from the get-go that this isn't right, but I kept just talking myself into all the ways that I could make it work and I could make it better because I'm so wonderful of a human. But the truth is with you, even though it's funny because I remember when I first met you and I called my mom and I said, I think I met the one. I think this guy is really it. And my mother goes, you've never called me and ever said that.
That's awesome.
And she said, well, tell me about him. And I said, well, he's about 13, 14 years older than me. Because I always said I don't want to date someone super, not that you're super older than me, because I think I'm older than you in so many ways.
Say?
Get out the Geritol, people.
I can't hear you.
Get me some Cialis.
Cialis, yes.
But I would I always say, I don't want to date someone who's been in a divorce. Mm-hmm. I don't want to date someone with children, and I don't want to date someone that's this many years older than me. And with Matt, I got the Jennifer Lopez of divorced married men with children.
Trifecta.
It was a triple threat. She could sing, she could dance, and she could act. Right?
I could, yes, and it was everything you wanted.
It's funny because you're everything I needed, right?
That's
so
funny.
God doesn't give us what we want. God gives us what we need.
Yes.
But you have to also, especially women, because we have that sixth sense. We have that third eye chakra that's always this isn't a good idea. This isn't a good idea. But then what do? We keep pushing it away.
Yes.
You have to really listen to your intuition.
Yeah. And I did listen to my intuition when I met you because I knew that you were the right woman for me.
Yes.
And no matter what, I mean, you were doing a television show at the time and so forth, and your life was crazy. But I just knew. I said, this girl is definitely my woman. This is the woman I want to be with.
Thank you.
No.
Is it the same woman that was dating a guy in Boston who owned a bunch of bars?
It was the same woman, yes.
And
this was pre
Matt Babine.
This is 20-something.
So this is how you know your intuition's motherfucking off because you're living in an alternate universe. So when I was in my 20s, I met this guy at the Intercontinental Rum Bar, which was the hot place to hang out back in the Dizzle. It's still good.
A good place.
It's still good, but it was popping back then. And I met this guy, and he owned a string of these really high-end bars in Boston. And right off the bat, he was Irish, so I'm a kind of a sucker for an accent. I don't know where the fuck that came from.
That was a leprechaun.
So we get totally blackout drunk. Then we go to this other tavern, and we're making out in front of people. Children were there having dinner, and we were on each other at the. So fucked up. And then he's like, hey, I have to go to my bar and I have to get the money and I have to go make a night deposit. And I was like, I'll go with you. And I remember exactly what I was wearing. I had my hair done perfect. I had this little dress on. I looked great.
I love an Irish accent, by the way,
I do too. I was
just picturing what was going on while you were rolling around the rum bar.
I love a little brogue. And so we go to his restaurant, and I'm sitting on a table, like a 4x4 table, and we're making out aggressively, and then the whole fucking table flips over.
Oh, Jesus.
And I fall on the ground, and I guess I just knocked myself out cold. And he thought I was dead. So he took a refrigerator blanket and put it over me. And he locked me in the bar and left me there. I think he was going to go get the Irish mafia to cut me up into pieces and throw me in the fucking Mystic River. I don't know anything about that. So I wake up and I'm like covered by a fucking heavy ass blanket, and I'm like, am I dead? Like, where the fuck am I? Am I in like the Beetlejuice waiting room? Like,
I would have like freaking flipped out.
I went nuts. And I was locked into his bar. So all of a sudden, like, I open the bar door, the fucking alarms go off, and he's running down the street. And instead of being like, what a fucking scumbag, you know what I do? I run after him, go home with him that night, hook up with him.
Still alive.
Can you imagine? Like, how shitty. Like, and I knew right from the get-go, I'm like, this guy is kind of a scumbag. But look, he's got all these things. He's like, he's successful. He has money. He's smart. He's all these things. He's a fucking scumbag. He was going to leave me for dead at the goddamn bar. Can you imagine?
We hear a chainsaw in the background.
Oh my God. You hear a bunch of guys with like axes and shit ready to cut you up and put you in the bathtub.
Almighty.
Shit,
what a
it's like a
horror
movie.
show.
That's why I'm saying, people, listen to me. I've been through it all. My life is literally a reality television show. And I had to go through all of this so that you people wouldn't end up under a refrigerator blanket in someone's pub. Number 4.
Yeah.
Matt is so excited about this. Ask yourself why you feel like you need a relationship to be whole.
Well, how many people run around, right, like us, me and you, right, staying in relationships too long, abusive relationships, right, relationships that don't work, but you just keep pushing against the grain, having nothing in common, and not even common views or values, right? You're not, and it's a horror show. It turns into a shit show, right? A shit show, either you end up with a blanket over you, right? Or
you're in a really messy divorce.
That was a quick night, because you could be in a blanket over you, or a subcalled blanket over you, for 5, 6, 7 years, wasting your fucking life,
right?
And just letting the time go by.
And then what do we say? Oh, when the kids are old enough, then I'll get a divorce. Or when this happens, I'll get it. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Bullshit. If it's not working, you need to, really try to move on.
Absolutely. Right. So. And number 5, remember, whatever you resist will persist. Just be in love with the highest vision and version of yourself, and the right one will come along, which is what we did.
Yeah.
Once we got to the point in our lives, we were just like, I don't need a man, or I don't need a woman to like make me feel good. I'll just do my thing.
But it's not like with everything. Oh, I don't need money, and then money comes to you. I don't need this, and it comes
world.
to you. It's the opposite world. And really it did. And I was saying that a little earlier. We were both like finished with relationships. We both were like finished with everything, and just like, I'm going to be single for the rest of my life. And there's nobody really I'm going to be able to fall in love with. And then all of a sudden, when you're not looking,
that's when it happens. So what we're saying, people, is just like, let that shit flow.
Let it flow.
Stop trying to do all this craziness, because honestly, at the end of the day, it's not worth shit. Right?
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
I want to read a little excerpt from a blog when I was doing some research for this. And I just thought this was just so beautiful. So it says, don't chase love because finding the right one is not a race. Don't get pressured when all your friends are breaking singlehood. Remember, your heart is a work in progress. You have to be prepared to feel the excitement, happiness, and pain all at the same time. You need to find the self you lost first, because you keep on chasing love. The day will come, you will feel love through a sweet text message when you wake up in the morning. You will see the memories of your laughter during a romantic date flashing just before you close your eyes at night. You will also hear it when your heart beats so fast the moment you receive those tight hugs and kisses after a long, tiring day. You will find love when you try not to chase it. The right person will come at the perfect time. It may be not today or the next day, but trust me, it will come soon. Just keep your hopes high and let love find its way. Let love find you.
Oh, that's beautiful. Nice.
So if you guys want to see this again, you can go to www.unitedpodcastnetwork.tv, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for being the Ambitchious that make Ambitchious a true movement. And like I always say, see you next Tuesday.
Nice.
Ow!
Good job, babe.
Thanks, friend.
That's awesome.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.